Hi everyone, it's Marla. Welcome back to my channel, Eclipse, Astrology, and Tarot. I'm here with the weekly reading for the week of January 30th, 2016. So there's a lot going on this week. I feel it's going to be a little bit of a maybe chaotic week as far as there's a lot of planetary energy going on. So I feel like at least our mind is going to be very active. Now, the first thing I want to mention is that we have a lot of planets lining up at the degrees between 14 and 18 of a lot of the different signs. We have Pluto at 15 degrees Capricorn, and Mercury's traveling through there right now. He's at about 17 degrees Capricorn. We have Uranus and Vesta at 17 and 16 degrees of Aries. We have Saturn and Union at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. We have Mars at 15 degrees Scorpio, Lilith at 17 degrees Libra, and Chiron at 18 degrees of Pisces. So all these planets are interacting with each other. So that's a lot of energy being created. Mercury is going through there right now, and then later on in the week, the Sun is going to be on those degrees in Aquarius, and then Venus is going to be traveling through there. She's now going through Capricorn. So I think there's going to be a lot happening. So let me get to the cards right now, and then I'll come back and talk about this a little bit more. The first card is the overall energy, and that is the Emperor. In the last couple weeks, I've been talking about how we really need to step into our power and be more assertive and be more self-confident and let our feelings be known. And this week it seems like we're still going on with that theme. The Emperor is about becoming your own authority, standing in your power, you being the one to take control of you, being like a self-master. It's about using your masculine energy, being assertive, being rational, logical, staying level-headed. So some of what I'm getting around this card is for one thing, you could be letting too many people tell you what to do. Or you're kind of putting off making a decision about something. So you're seeking advice and, maybe you're Googling things, looking on the internet. And maybe you're struggling to make some kind of decision regarding something. And what you need to do is stop searching outside of yourself and search for the answer inside of yourself. It's okay to have advisors, but you have to be where the buck stops. You have to be the one in control. And if you're giving your authority away to someone else, that's eventually going to come back to bite you. You need to be strong and in control. And this is a lesson that we're going to need going forward on being in control. There might be something around commitment as well. Are you willing to commit to something and stay the course, or are your energies scattered? And we'll see that come up again later on in the cards. But when the Emperor makes a decision, he has to stand by his decision. He can't kind of waffle and flip-flop, although a lot of politicians do, I know, try to do that. But in order to be the leader that you're meant to be, you need to commit to your path of growth. The second card is the Hidden Influence. The Tower. So it looks like we might get some excitement this week. Some kind of shock or revelation or awakening. This card is about change. Some kind of shocking change that you didn't realize was coming. This card has to do with Uranus. Uranus is shocks and revelations. So getting back to what I was talking about with the planets. Uranus is going to be making some intense aspects this week. So I feel we might be in for a lot of Uranian energy. And of course, the sun is going through Aquarius right now. And the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. So we could have a lot of thoughts. Mercury is aspecting Uranus right now. So some sudden revelations coming up in our minds. I think a lot of how the energy is going to affect you is how conscious you are of things. So if you're consciously releasing fears, then this is probably going to be more of a mental job. Where if you're unconscious of what your fears are, if you're not facing your shadow, then you're going to attract people and situations that are trying to get your attention in order to reflect what it is you need to make conscious and clear out. Now, Mercury is an interesting one because, of course, he was in retrograde. And he came through, he passed by Pluto, and he aspected Uranus. And then he went as far as Aquarius. He stopped and turned around and went back. So I feel like when he made his first pass, maybe you had an inkling come up of what you were going to be thinking about when Mercury retrograde came around. Then when he came back and he made a second pass in reverse, then you likely had some kind of revelation then, or you had some kind of event in your life that came up and you've been spending a lot of time thinking about it. And now he's going direct. He stopped on top of Pluto and now he's aspecting Uranus. So I feel like during the retrograde, you saw something, you had some kind of revelation, and now as Mercury's moving forward, you're ready to integrate that consciously and let go of whatever was that old thing that came up for you. So a lot of you, I feel like, could be seeing things and working through things that you're letting go. Now Saturn is also here. Saturn is also trining Uranus. And Saturn is our fears. And Saturn doesn't, this kind of represents Mars, but when I look at the Emperor, I think of Saturn as well. Saturn is our fears. And he's trining Uranus. That's the ability to witness and overcome your fears. The card before the Tower is the Devil card. And the Devil is about what is holding you back, what is keeping you in your prison. Excuse me. And the only thing that's keeping you locked up in your prison is your own fears and false beliefs. So now you're ready to let it go. You've come through, you're seeing the fear and you're deciding to let it go, or you're being forced to let it go. And if we think of the imagery on this card, it doesn't look very nice, but let's think about the princess that's been locked up in the tower. And she's a prisoner. And then there's a shock and she's suddenly freed. She's released from her prison. And I feel like that's going to be a lot of the energy this week. There's another interesting aspect, and that is the asteroid Alma is going to be squaring the North Node and Jupiter and the South Node. And I really feel like that also is going to be about sudden revelations, because you're going to be thinking about your life path. And are you fulfilling your soul's purpose? Are you doing your work? If not, then there could be some kind of consequence or some event that simply pulls you back onto the right path. And, as Venus goes through there at the end of next week, and I'll maybe talk about this more next week, that can be some revelations and some releasing around our relationships and what we value. And going through a transformation of what we love. So the advice from Spirit cards. There's 2 this week, 7 of Cups and the 9 of Arrows. So let's talk about the 7 of Cups first. Now, one way we can take this is rewards and abundance. We have 7 gold cups to choose from. And I feel that has the planets, they're transiting through, hitting all those, to be very honest, rather nasty planets. It's causing us to be a bit like this because our fears are coming up. And so it's causing some anxiety and some sleepless nights and maybe some nightmares as we work things out. But they come through and then they hit Jupiter on the North Node. And Jupiter on the North Node represents you being rewarded. It's like you're doing the soul work, you're doing the release, and then you create the space for abundance to come into your life. Another way this card could play out is, again, the Emperor is seeking too much outside of himself. He's waiting for other people or something to come along to tell him what to do. Or there are too many people trying to tell him what to do. And so he's very confused. He doesn't know what to pick. And now his energies are scattered. And he's not making a very good leader because he's too scattered. He can't make a choice. So tune into your inner voice. Don't worry about anyone else's opinion. or anyone else's advice or what anyone else would do. Tune into yourself and decide which cup is the right one to choose. And this card is Pisces, Neptune energy. It also represents having very strong psychic abilities, some kind of revelation or prophecy happening in dreams. So pay attention to your dreams. And trust that you can make the right decision. Stay out of your head this week. Again, we can be dealing with some planets that aren't too friendly, but they're working for our highest good. So don't let yourself get too worked up. Try to focus on the positive. Be the emperor. Be strong. Be capable. Be assertive. Mercury is going direct. He's still in his shadow, but he is going direct. So we can start taking some action steps. And there can be some anxiety, of course, around releasing things. And when you're going through a transformation, often you can't see what's ahead of you. You know, you're being asked to release everything that's behind you, but you can't see yet what's in front of you, or what's in front of you is unclear. What you're going towards is unclear. But if you set your intentions, commit to what you're going after, then the way suddenly becomes clear. And this is an interesting aspect, I think, with the asteroid union being conjunct Saturn and trining Vesta on Uranus. So, you know, union is about relationships, you know, being connected to someone else. And Vesta is about what you're devoted to. So I kind of feel like that aspect is asking you, what are you devoted to? Who are you devoted to? And it can be a kind of a struggle between the old and the new. Saturn, the fear, the old, the traditional. And Uranus, the revolutionary, the futuristic, the new. So you might have to make some tough choices, or something's going to happen that makes the choice easy. Or if you're unwilling to make the transformation, then the planets are going to force it on you. So don't wait for that to happen. You take control. You be the emperor. And I also drew a Ascended Masters card from Doreen Virtue's Ascended Masters deck. And their message this week is Maitreya, power of joy. This is also known as the laughing Buddha. So Spirit really wants you to find joy this week. Again, you know, they were warning you about getting stuck in your head. And the way to not get stuck in your head is to find your joy and to find your passion. And to believe that there's a lot of good things coming to you. There's a lot of happiness coming to you. And that even with whatever's going on, there's still a lot of joy in your life. And to focus on the joy. I feel like every week I talk about how to stay positive, don't be negative, and I feel like I'm lecturing everybody. But, that's the message every week, it seems, because that's the truth. The truth is you create your reality by your thoughts and your beliefs. Stay positive and you'll have a positive day. And work on finding passion and do things for yourself this week. We're still in this space where we're resting and we're trying to refocus and regroup and we're getting prepared for the next stage. So do things that you find fun and exciting and that can relieve some of your tension. And when you're in that joyful place, you feel more powerful and you feel more decisive and you're more connected. So I hope you have a really great week. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can visit my website at eclipseastro.com, or you can follow me on Facebook at Eclipse Astrology and Tarot. I love you so much, and I will see you next week.